and welcome to my workshop. I've just come in from being out in my paddock with a chainsaw, and I've roughed out 3 blocks of wood that we're going to turn up, well, at least 1 bowl today. Now, the method I normally use for something, you know, this weighs probably 12 kilos. What's that? About 30 pounds, thereabouts. Well, I like to be secure, so I've got a big heavy steel, cast steel faceplate for my lathe, and I'm going to securely fix that into roughly the center of the material. And I use these heavy threaded, okay, they're actually roofing screws to hold sheeting onto the side of a building, actually, into, you know, steel girders. They're the best ones I have found to hang on to this sort of wood, well, any sort of wood actually. Normal wood screws just, they don't cut it. Now, most good lathe equipment, such as from, if you're in America, Grizzly or Harbor Freight, in Australia it's Hare and Forbes, or Carpentry as well. The equipment's pretty good too. They should have some sort of lock-in mechanism onto the thread of your headstock, okay, for the chuck or for the faceplate. And in this case, it has 2 grub screws that you have to undo, like this. This incidentally is a reducer from one thread size to another to fit the chuck that I purchased. Now then, also it should have a spindle lock as well. Okay, like that. So it's locked, and all you simply do then is on the back side there should be some mechanism where you can actually turn the shaft that's sort of semi-sealed, so you can't touch it when it's running. Now, hang on to it because it's quite heavy and expensive. This is a 5.5 inch chuck, might even be a 6 inch chuck actually, wood lathe chuck with interchangeable jaws, and this is somewhere in the region of $400, so you know, you don't want to drop it. Okay, and I say this to a lot of people as well. When you put in a lump of wood onto the end of this shaft, this thread, I have seen a lot of wood turners that should know better offer this up to the lathe and turn the damn motor on and let the motor wind it on. Not only is that lazy, it's downright dangerous as well. This is the correct way of doing it. You offer the material up. If it's too heavy for you to lift, you put a block of wood there, roughly the same size, and put your material on that block of wood and get it somewhere close. So just offer it up like this, hold it on there, and wind the thread in. Okay? And then wind it on until it stops. Then you do your lock-in mechanism up. I got 3 little grub screws on here that I'm going to do up right now. This ensures that it doesn't come off under any situation, whether you're doing, because these types of lathes they have forward and reverse. So you can actually cut in reverse. In other words, you can cut on the back side if you wish, or you can turn the head all the way around and have something out over this side. If it's too large a diameter to go over the bed, you can machine it over this side. I don't particularly like doing that myself, but you can do it. So in that case you need a lock-in mechanism to make sure it doesn't unwind. So now we're going to set the tool rest up and make sure our chisels are nice and sharp. And we're going to bring the tailstock up, and I always support the other end of the material, although it doesn't really need it. It gives me peace of mind. And we'll start roughing this down. Okay, so we'll bring the tailstock up there, lock it up, and then push it in quite tight. It gives added security and safety that a piece of wood isn't going to come flying out at me. You know, I'm 99% sure I could turn this all without this there, but just gives me a little bit of peace of mind. And I would advise you to adopt that type of safety measure. So the next thing we do is we set up our tool rest, and what I'm going to do, this is going to be the back edge of the bowl. So I'm going to start to work away at this area here. So I'm going to find out which is the, okay, this is the most, shall we say, stick it out part. So we'll hold in on that for a start. Lift this up a little and turn, always turn the wood to make sure it's not going to foul the tool rest, and there you go, it does. So just a fraction more out there like that. So this is going to take me a good probably 15 minutes to machine down to sort of a usable shape. Might even take me half an hour. So I use quite a bit of high-speed footage so you don't get too bored. So here we go. I suppose every wood turner develops their own way of wood turning, and specifically using their tools. Now this is 2 bowl gouges. Okay, they're very long, and they're bowl gouges. As opposed to a spindle gouge. Okay, a spindle gouge is very much shorter, and you see the diameter of the actual tool is much smaller. Now then, I use a bowl gouge for about 90% of my wood turning. Yeah, I use skews and I use roughing gouges and things, but not often. These are the 2 main tools I use. They're both bowl gouges, as I said, but they're 2 different grinds, and they look a bit grubby. Look, I use them every day, and if you go into a proper wood turning shop, okay, the chisels that they use, all right, they're all stained, and you know, I do try to keep them clean, but you know, they're there to be used. So that's why these are a little bit stained and grubby, but where it counts, and that is up here, okay, it's like a knife edge, at least the cutting edge, sharp as a razor. Now then, there's 2 different grinds on here. Okay, this is what's commonly known as an English grind, and this is what is known as it's not a full, but it's a semi fingernail grind. As you can tell, it's shaped like a fingernail, sort of. So this to me, the way I use these do a broad, the English grind does a broad cut, and the fingernail grind is sort of a more detailed cut, but you can roll it over on its side and cut a much larger amount of material away by using the wing. Okay, the wing here. Alright, so we're going to start off by using the fingernail grind and get some of this off. About 430, that's about the maximum I can actually turn it without the lathe vibrating around. So let's find the material. There it is. Don't be in a hurry to take too much off. Actually, what I'll do is I'll machine this down and I'll make my tenon here. So, sometimes I use a mortise, sometimes I use a tenon. In this case I think I'm going to use a tenon. I'll show you the jaws of the chuck in a minute. I just want to remove this little bit of material here. If you notice, these jaws here are tapered on the outer side and the inside, and I've got several different types of or sizes of jaws to fit on this chuck as well, and they match up to the stub here, and they grip on that, and not only do they grip tight down that way, but it'll pull up to this face here, and that's what holds it in, hopefully. So you tighten down on that, and what sometimes I do to assist that process, bring that up, bring the tailstock up, actually we'll wind him out a bit further. bring that tailstock in there nice and tight. So it's pushed hard up into the chuck, and now we can tighten this up really, really tight. Okay, that now should be just fine. It's like a little bit, not much. Now, depending on how this goes, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a couple of test cuts here. And so I'm putting my tool rest down below center height. But I could probably go a little bit lower than that. And I'm going to come in here with my bowl gouge and take a few cuts out of here, and just to see how this material is going to cut. If it's really, really tough going, what I'll do is I'll take the tailstock back and I'll put a spade bit or something like that in there and just hollow the inside a bit and give me a bit of a start. But if it cuts reasonably well, what I'll do is I'll just cut here deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, leave a stub in the middle for this to hang on to till I get into about this far, about 2 inches deep, and then I'll remove this and get rid of that stub and continue hollowing out the bowl. So that's what we're going to do now. Square it up. Okay. Actually cut in all right, I think. Not too thin. I don't like thin bowls. When it dries out a little bit, I can actually skim off and re-screw it up. Look at the figure on the inside of that bowl. It's not too bad on the outside either. That turned out to be a beautiful little bowl. Really happy with that one. Well, I hope you've liked the video today, and if you have, please press like and subscribe to my channel. That's always a good thing. And at this stage I would like to put a big thank you out there to my patrons, because the patrons behind this channel that keep it going as it is today. And it's bye for now.